Hi, I'm Parker Conrad. I'm one of the co-founders of SigFig, and I'm here today to tell you about a product that, if you're an everyday investor, is going to make your life a lot easier. But it's going to create some challenges for some big financial services companies. And in particular, for companies that rely in their business model on the fact that most of their clients probably aren't really paying attention, we're going to put them out of business. And I want to show you how. But first, a little bit of background about this product. So the first thing is everything works over sync. So we pull in all of your brokerage information. You can populate this experience in seconds. And this is our dashboard page where you can sort of see what's going on with your portfolio today. We have movers over here on the right where we show you sort of the biggest things that are moving in your portfolio. Live real-time stock data is pushed to the browser without a page refresh. So you'll see these numbers updating in real time. And we pull in news from over 500 different sources and populate it right here. We also have sort of a great analytics experience where you can see your real performance, net of dividends, fees, et cetera. You can compare it to whatever index you want. We calculate a bunch of stats for your portfolio and compare you to other users. We show you your true underlying asset allocation, geographic allocation, historical and forecasted dividends, and more. But the heart of this product is our recommendations engine, where we show you what you can do to invest better. And we make over 100 different kinds of recommendations, but I want to start with the brokerage recommendations that we make. And one of the interesting things about this product is that we actually have, through a legacy product, an installed user base of several 100,000 accounts. So we know exactly what the impact of these recommendations is going to be. And when we look at our installed user base, we know that we can save people an average of 50% on the fees that they're paying in their brokerage. So we can cut their fees in half. And this is a great example of that. So we can, this guy trades fairly frequently. We can show him how, by switching brokerages, he can save almost $3,000 a year in brokerage fees. And it's not just about trading commissions with brokerages. A lot of brokerages, actually 10% of our users have what we consider to be hidden fees, fees that you wouldn't ordinarily understand or that show up sort of in a haphazard way on your statement, and we can show you how to avoid those as well. And sometimes this gets really extreme. So this user, we can save him over $150,000 a year in brokerage fees. This is a real user. This is not fake data. And the reason is that this guy, he's with Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, and they're charging him about $340 for every stock trade that he makes. And so this can be really impactful at the high end for some users. The other thing is we also look at your mutual funds and your ETFs, and we show you how you can optimize them. So in this case, you've got a mutual fund. We don't pull our punches here, so we can tell you, hey, you've got this mutual fund. It's a small cap fund. There are some much better options out there that actually cost a lot less. And you don't have to take our word for it. So we give you several options, and we show you sort of how these two funds compare. And if you want, you can even see sort of a bunch of detailed information that shows you exactly how the data compares and how they rate and that sort of stuff. And interestingly, when we look at our product recommendations, we've actually been able to back test them historically and see what the impact of this stuff is. And so if we run this based on the data we had 2 years ago, for example, and then we run the clock forward to see what happens, we can improve people's performance an average of 4.5 percentage points. And when you think about what that means, when over the last 10 years the S&P has returned less than 2% annualized, think about what that means for a retail investor to have an additional 4.5 percentage points on their returns. And it's not because we have some fancy rocket scientists developing algorithms that beat the market. The reason is that just most retail investors fail to optimize, make some very simple, obvious optimizations that we can sort of point them to. And this kind of stuff, we kind of get creative with this. So here's an example of what we call a clunker recommendation, where you don't just have a mutual fund where you can do better. You have one that's like at the bottom of its category with huge fee savings that you can make. And we're like, hey, dude, you got to sell this thing right away. And then the other thing here, we have some examples of what we call, our advisor interventions, where we can say, hey, listen, this guy has a financial advisor. And frequently, if you're a retail investor, if you have an advisor, it's hard to tell if they're doing a good job because when your accounts are up, they take all the credit, and when they're down, it's because of market conditions and the environment and all that kind of stuff. And so what we can do is we can actually show you exactly how they compare, because we have tens of thousands of advisors on our platform, to all the other advisors out there, and you can see, they're actually, compared to their peer group, they're performing less well and charging you a lot more in fees. And sometimes we can just arm you with the data that you need to go in and have a conversation with your advisor. So in this case, we can tell this guy who's with Merrill Lynch that he's being charged more than 95% of other Merrill Lynch clients. And so the right move there is pick up the phone and call your guy and say, hey, what the hell? Why are you charging me so much more than other Merrill Lynch clients? And see if you can negotiate a better rate. And then lastly, this is one of my favorite recommendations right here. This guy happens to own a mutual fund. And it's one of 2 mutual funds that are run by Invesco. 2 completely different funds, different names, but they have virtually identical holdings. It's the same exact thing. And the real difference between them is the one that this guy owns charges almost a 6% load when he bought it. And so the other one is surprisingly affordable. So you might think, well, why does Invesco have these 2 completely different funds that have such widely variant pricing? And the reason is that the fund that this guy owns pays a big, fat, juicy commission to his broker. And so we can actually articulate to the user, here's exactly what happened here, and here's how you got screwed. And this is one of the perils of relying on a broker for investment advice. And so, hey, next time maybe you want to use a registered investment advisor who has a different standard, and we can help you with that. We can take you through, ask you some questions about sort of, your goals and what you want, and we can recommend some advisors that we've cleared that we think are really high quality, and you can even schedule an appointment right there on our system, and then sort of go visit them and interview them yourselves. So there's a lot of cool stuff about this product. I mean, we think that really what this product is a second set of eyes on your portfolio. And we think that Sunshine is the best antiseptic, and what we're going to do is sort of pull back the curtain on a lot of what's going on with your investments and your accounts. And in doing so, I think we'll actually help the sort of really good actors in the industry, the companies who are adding a lot of value for their clients and that sort of thing by moving business their way. Almost out of time, but we're hiring engineers, designers, good product people. Come talk to us at our booth. Myself and my co-founder and CEO, Mike Shaw, are available, and we'd love to take any further questions that you have. Thank you very much.